Alright, I've got another game in the round of 16 for the CiC Qualifiers, and this time we've got Rexxars taking on PepsiMax, two strong teams, obviously, to have made it this far. And Rexxars pretty well known as the team that Insania is now heading, although he is not in this game. He is known as Azure Rexxar, and obviously not currently playing in this match
Master of Arms
for the Rexxars team, so having to go without his leadership and ability in-game, but they should be alright, as they're generally a pretty strong team. We saw them in the Hunter Season 2 playoffs, and they basically just forfeited out, which is too bad, but oh well. PepsiMax, though, there are also a few recognizable names. Curson's been doing some stuff, Hakapontis and I think I Collapse have been on various other teams, but anyway, a couple of names you might recognize there if you've been paying close attention to some of the lower tier matches. Bans are out. Kraken and Drunken Master being eliminated by Green Rexxars, taking out two really versatile heroes that have a lot of mid-game presence and some carry potential as well. Drunken a little bit more than Kraken, perhaps, but Kraken has a little bit more team fight than Drunken, so, you know, choosing one is basically deciding which way you want to order your team, which way you are going to prioritize that type of skill set. And Green Rex are just getting rid of both of them right off the bat. Hellborn banning out Kronos and Ophelia, so taking out the extremely popular suicide option in Kronos, and traditionally one of the better junglers in Ophelia, although she hasn't been as successful recently with the new jungle changes, so no doubt a solid ban on both, and obviously for both teams, so removing four heroes that totally make sense. Legion side will start out with Rhapsody and Puppet Master, so the strong, really draft already, as they've got two of the more powerful heroes in the scene right now. Rhapsody, obviously, I think the best support still. Some people would argue Torture, and there might even be some proponents for Engineer or Empath, but I think Rhapsody at this point is still the strongest hero in the metagame. Sorry, still getting a little bit cold, but anyway. Torture, so they'll get... It's pretty much between 1 and 2, whether Torture or Rhapsody is the strongest hero or strongest support hero in the current metagame, and they're going to pick up both of them, which makes sense to me, as they will be foregoing the jungle option. So I Collapse's Ophelia ban perhaps a little less important, unless they were planning on taking it. And then, of course, the Puppet Master, obviously a very strong hero as well, will likely be lane bot with that Torture, and I suspect we'll see Rhapsody in the middle in the double duel lane. So we're probably looking for a mid and a suicide option here. Plenty of both of those still available. Hellborn side has gone with Master of Arms, Revenant, and the Madman, so they picked up their own suicide, probably in the Madman. And I would guess two supports in Master of Arms and Revenant. I'm not a huge fan of picking support early, as I've said before. I just feel like you want to pick your farmers first and pick supports to complement those farmers, not the other way around. Because at this point it's going to be a little too easy for the Legion side to ban out strong farming heroes, and that can seriously hurt the Hellborn. And Revenant, not really a hero that you'd think, oh, that's going to get banned out. That's probably a pick you can make later. So choosing him second overall seems a little odd. Not a hero we see very often, so and that usually makes you think, don't really need to do that. It is notable that we have occasionally seen Revenant suicide. I've played a suicide Revenant before. I think it's extremely viable. Obviously, the Essence Shroud giving you the invisibility basically means it's extremely hard to kill you, and he lanes fairly well too. So honestly, I wouldn't be shocked to see him in a suicide role, and I wouldn't be surprised if some teams have tried that out in the past, but I do expect the support here as that option for Revenant. Meanwhile, bans are going down. Pestilence and Solstice being eliminated by the Legion side. Solstice is a little odd. I don't think that they're looking for the jungle run at this point. Pestilence would definitely make sense as a pair in the middle lane with Master of Arms. And we'll see what else they choose to ban out. Almost certainly looking for a short laner and a mid on the Hellborn side as compared to the mid and the suicide for the Legion side. So I'd like to see a little bit more emphasis on the carries. Moon Queen still on the board. Soul Stealer is still on the board. Decrepit Disciple is still on the board. Slither. Draconis, if you want to get crazy. Dark Lady, Sandwraith, Dr. Repulsor. Plenty of options here, but perhaps could get rid of some of them. I think the Moon Queen would be the one I would focus on. Hellborn side at this point lacks a fair bit of team fight. They're mostly gank oriented and mostly single target damage, and Moon Queen would really help that out with not only her ultimate, but her glaives as well. Bubble's getting eliminated instead, as that is a potential suicide and mid option, potentially even a short lane. We see him go in the short occasionally, although I'm not a huge fan of that strategy. But a strong hero, and sort of makes sense to ban, I guess, here, but not the greatest bans, I don't think, on the Legion side. Solstice in particular, one that I don't think the Hellborn was really looking at, unless they were going to run the Revenant Farmer, which is possible, but we have typically seen him as the support hero. Hellborn getting rid of Gauntlet and Rally, so banning out a couple of mid heroes, as the Legion side does still need to fill that role. Presumably so do the Hellborn, although it's possible that they're looking for something else. And this makes me think that, yeah, they are in fact looking for something else, and they're going to go more towards that, maybe even the jungle, and use the Revenant as a farmer, because it doesn't make too much sense to be banning out a bunch of heroes you could take, unless, of course, they're just like, yeah, this is stuff the Legion can take, and we don't want that. So that would make sense. Devour is the last ban, so a bunch of Initiator heroes being eliminated by the Hellborn side. And I think if I'm Legion, I'm looking to pick something like that up at this point. Rexxars Hag is on the board. I would probably run her as a suicide in this lineup. Pebbles will be the choice. Okay, yeah. That makes tons of sense. Pebbles available along with Magnus. Probably those were the two really strong options at this point. I might have preferred Magnus. I think the Legion side already has plenty of gang potential. Magnus would allow them some team fight and allow them the ability to group up a little bit more effectively. I do generally favor versatile teams over one-dimensional teams, because it seems like one-dimensional teams either they do well and they probably win, or they don't do well and they definitely lose. And versatile teams seem like, you know, if we have some issues in one particular area, if the laning phase doesn't go so well, we can rely on other strengths of this team. But this Legion side basically needs to have a really strong laning phase, and they need to use that to take off. Otherwise, this is going to be potentially a long game, and potentially a very dangerous one, because they are set up well to go late game, and they are soft picking the Hag here. So I think that would complement their lineup fairly well. It would add a bit of team fight, a bit of AoE damage, and continue to complement their already strong gank presence. So I really wouldn't mind to see that Rexxars Hag being picked up here. Not too many suicide options that have the the great team fight presence. I know we're going to Hag. Although, to be fair, they could run the tri-lane here. They do have a pretty strong tri-lane with Puppet Torture and Rhapsody, or Pebbles, Rhapsody, and Torture. So, two real decent, strong tri-lane options here. Both Puppet and Pebbles can be run as solos, and have been in the past, and they're both pretty strong in that regard. So, Legion side, I would expect to see the 1-2-2 strat here with the Suicide Hag, Torture, Pebbles middle, Torture, Rhapsody middle, and Pebbles, Rhapsody middle, and Puppet Torture bot. Hellborn will pick up the Parasites. They do, in fact, go the jungle route, and we will see the Revenant in a... I could see a Master Farmer, actually. I don't know why I just completely glossed over that, but... I would prefer to see the Revenant in a Farmer role, I think. Master of Arms is a decent hero to be run as a Farmer, but not a huge... really, really great one. I'm looking for a 1-2-1, I think, from the Hellborn. If they either run a Suicide Revenant or a Suicide Madman, and then either dual lane mid the Zephyr or short lane the Madman, or both. I mean, technically. So I think at this point, I'm looking for a Suicide Madman. He goes stock first, and he's getting plenty of regen here, plus a ward. So this is going to be a Suicide Madman, and a mid-rev Master of Arms with a solo top Zephyr. That sort of looks like what we're going to develop into here. Master of Arms does look like he's going to support role. I do like that. Lots of regen here, plus a ward. And Revenant will in fact be farming. So I like the decisions being made here by PepsiMax. I think that's the correct way to run this lineup. Just because Master of Arms isn't the greatest farmer in the world. I think he's much better suited as a support. And Revenant actually is surprisingly powerful if you get him to farm. He's an extremely strong ganker. He's an extremely strong initiator and counter initiator with that Essence Shroud, being able to spread invisibility to his teammates. Parasite in particular is going to enjoy that, as is basically going to always have a Wild Hunter. Legion side looks like they're going to be running the solo bot. Yeah, I don't think so. Alright, so it will be Rhapsody babysitting the Puppet Master, yes, as opposed to the Torturer. Oh, are they going to run a tri-lane here? No, no. So we're going to see a 2-1-2 from the Legion side, as they'll go with Torturer and Pebbles instead of Rhapsody Pebbles. I would have slightly preferred the Rhapsody Pebbles just because Torturer doesn't provide that much ability over Rhapsody. In fact, Rhapsody's target stun is a little bit better for initiation to go into a stun shock combo for Pebbles, because that means the Pebbles that does not have to initiate, and actually he can get the combo damage out of his spells. And Rhapsody is heading top, so they are going to run a tri-lane here. I think once they realize the other two lanes are going to be solos, they're like, alright, this is a dual lane. Let's go up against the Zephyr. Let's shut down the Zephyr early, which makes tons of sense to me. This is obviously an issue for Zephyr if she, he, it, whatever, the bird. If Zephyr gets shut down early, it doesn't go well. This is one of the bigger snowball heroes in the game, obviously. It gets crazy, crazy, crazy awesome if you go really strong early. You can just get stupid tanky and do a ton of damage, but if you don't get off to a good start, either in terms of experience or gold per minute, then things can go south really quickly. Pebbles was a couple of CS there, but not the biggest of deals. So I expect most of the action to be centered up here in this top lane, as the Hellborn do have lane control and are looking to obviously continue that, but I have this ult, it's one of my favorites. Meanwhile, in middle lane, Revenant versus Wretched Hag. Going to be difficult for either side to kill the other. I think Hag is the only one that has real potential to do so, unless she misplays. Revenant just doesn't have the burst damage to be able to kill her. Parasite coming in here with the Essence Shroud, so going to get helped out a little bit, and they're going to jump a bit on Hag here, but it's not going to be enough to kill her, as she has to blink, and she'll be totally fine. Parasite now working his way across the back, actually, so they might look to reinitiate here. He's going to grab a Skeleton King, and Hag might be in some trouble at this point. She will have her blink back, which is good. Question is she going to have enough health to survive the burst? She continues to eat trees, so I think, yeah, she'll probably be fine. But Revenant getting some lane control here thanks to Parasite's involvement. And, oh! Didn't actually disjoint the leap, but still not enough damage to kill her, so getting super, super low here, and she knows exactly where Parasite is, and he's going to continue to heavily pressure in this lane. Advantage, of course, is that Revenant is now out of mana, so it's going to be more difficult for him to put in damage on this Hag, and Hag should be able to regain some control of this lane. Rhapsody roaming middle, by the way, and is trying to stop some of that aggression. Top lane continues to be in favor of the Legion side, 282 gold per minute on Pebbles compared to just 154 on Zephyr, so not a huge surprise there considering the substantially larger support presence on the Legion side, the tri-lane obviously. Rhapsody's still looking for something mid, has a Rev Ward down, that's her own. Parasite coming in from the side with an Invis rune, actually, so all sorts of invisibility. And we'll get given a health pot by Rhapsody, so Hag now has the health and mana advantage, should be able to take some control of this lane. Parasite retreats back into the jungle, and it looks like Rhapsody's going to hang out here for a bit. A little odd. You almost never see a dual lane Hag in pretty much any capacity just because the levels are way too valuable for her, but whatever. And we'll also leave some Blightstones here. Yeah, Rhapsody needs to get out of here before she starts to screw with Hag's farm too much. Hag does have a bottle, so that'll help out a little bit as well. Bottom lane we haven't talked about it all, but it's Puppet Master going up against Madman. No surprise, Puppet Master winning this lane, 300 gold per minute compared to 200 from Madman. So Madman not having bad farm at all, really, but Puppet Master obviously one of the stronger laners in the game with his dual CC tools and the Whiplash, especially against a melee hero. The harass that can come out onto this Madman is pretty substantial. Does have a bottle now, so that'll help out a lot, with the stock and the barrel roll providing some counter harass. I do continue to expect Yellow Rexxars to win this lane, but iCollapse should have a fairly decent enough time, especially considering he's a suicide. don't really expect him to be going, yeah, I'm going to get 80 kills in this lane. Top lane, looks like they're trying to collapse on the Zephyr, but it's not going to happen. A little bit too far out of range. And they will instead head right back to lane and continue to accumulate CS. The numbers here, 27 and 14 for Pebbles compared to just 9 and 0 for Zephyr, so bit of an issue there. They do need to start stacking the jungle, I think. They do have just the one support, but it's not like Master's providing that much value here. Zephyr's not even able to sit on the wave in CS, even though the Rhapsody is sort of kind of half here, not totally here. And obviously having stacks in the woods, once Zephyr gets some tornadoes up, is going to be really valuable. So I'd like to see a little bit more involvement from Master of Arms in the jungle, as opposed to just sitting in this lane with Zephyr and collectively not doing anything. Seems a little bit nonsensical. Rhapsody continues to roam extremely heavily, still level 1. And they need to be a little bit concerned about that at this point. 6-minute rune will be gone after by all sorts of heroes. See who gets lucky. It will be top. It's a regen. Meanwhile, Revenant bottles the refreshment on bottom. Parasite here continuing to farm. Not doing too badly at 136 gold per minute. Never mind, he is doing badly. What am I even talking about? He should be doing better. I guess a lot of harass early on against Wretched Hag really hurt his ability to farm, so I really wouldn't mind seeing him just turn on the farm, I think, at this point. It's good to gank, but they don't really have the presence to be able to generate a lot of kills. Maybe on bottom lane they could do that, just because Puppet doesn't have an escape mechanism. All he has is the CC tools. But middle lane going after that Hag repeatedly just didn't make a lot of sense, considering she has the blink. And Parasite can take an advantage in this game. We do have dual supports. Torture and Rhapsody are not particularly tanky as supports. They don't have escape mechanisms. They both got stuns, but you know, you can mitigate some of that with a face hug. So I would have liked to have seen Parasite just go, look, I'm going to get a Codex as fast as I possibly can. Meanwhile, on bottom lane, got some harassment going down here on the Madman, but he'll stalk away and be just fine. Rhapsody continues to be level 1. And they need to address this, I think. Because Rhapsody's not going to be particularly helpful if she stays at level 1 this entire game. She's just going to be food for Parasite. Although, at this rate, maybe not, because Parasite's not farming very well. But if you just went all-out farm, you know, you could pretty easily see 250 gold per minute and a Codex by 12 or 13 minutes, which would be awesome. Madman here going to get jumped by the Puppet Show and the Dust. A couple more auto-attacks will finish him off, but he has a stock and will get away. He'll be fine here. Puppet continuing to chase, but obviously realizing that's not going to work out very well. So 8 minutes in, still no Bloodlust. As that's not super surprising considering how defensively they played this top lane. I think this was the only lane that had a ton of potential to grab a kill, as everybody else has escape mechanisms or CC tools or something like that to stop aggression. And top lane, they didn't have too much of that. Meanwhile, yeah, 8 minutes and I miss it. So actually, they will get the kill onto Rhapsody here. There's the leech and the stalk, and we're also going to kill onto the Puppet Master. So, whoops. All of a sudden, Madman's at 300 gold per minute, and Puppet's at 264. Top lane, meanwhile, they're chasing, trying to get a kill onto this Zephyr, but they're going to draw some TC support. Stalagmites go down, and the Chuck on top of Master of Arms. He can take a bunch of damage. He pushes the Sun down, though, and drops a health potion. Will get killed by the Sun Scream there. And the Bat Blast will actually finish off Zephyr as well. Madman coming in here looking for something. It takes chain reactions, and they're going to look to pursue, but he will be able to get away. I think he still has a stock pretty soon. And not enough to stun from Torture, so he'll be fine. Looks like they might try to turn this around. So a couple of strong kills there. Dive was successful for the Legion side. No surprise that level 1 Rhapsody turned out to be food. So resources relatively even so far, and I think both sides perhaps looking to get a bit more of an advantage than they have. Neither of them is like, yeah, okay, we'll eat a poor laning phase. Obviously Pebbles, you know, really a snowball hero. They're going to jump on Rhapsody here, but Stalagmites go down into Revenant, and he might not be thinking this was such a great decision. The last auto attack will finish him off. Sorry about that. Had to sneeze, might have to do it again. Anyway. So, Legion taking a bit of advantage now at this point, but 10 minutes in, not really substantially ahead. And Pebbles' farm is actually particularly good here, so he's got a portal key. Just purchased it, so 10 minutes in, looking at the PK already on top of the Steam Boots and Bottle. Obviously love to see that, especially because the Hellborn side isn't particularly high level at this point. Curson on that Master Arms, just 600 health. And really, even Zephyr already has Vestment, so he's probably not going to be a target. Parasite, 853 health, might survive, and with Revenant having Steam Boots, he's probably alright too, but I think Madman could perhaps be in some danger. Meanwhile, middle lane, Revenant will get the Essence Route off, and he'll be okay. So likely going to focus on Madman and Madman and Master of Arms as the targets for Pebbles' aggression. Tries to go on Revenant there, obviously, and that didn't work out so well. Puppet Show goes down onto Madman, but he's going to try to get away. Strings go up there, and the Voodoo Puppet is here as well. A few more auto attacks will kill it. There it goes. Parasite going to try to turn it around onto Puppet Master. Probably not going to be able to get it. A couple more auto attacks. Health pot goes off, and the Cicadas will help get him off. So yeah, not a surprise that he is unable to finish off this Puppet Master with the support of Rhapsody around here. Revenant looking for a kill, but obviously the health pot having gone off makes it a lot more difficult. Top lane, you see a jump here onto Master Arms. Easy kill. Tornado goes down there as well, but the chain reactions get taken, and Zephyr's in a lot of trouble. A couple more auto attacks, and he will die. Actually, Impalement is just going to finish him off. And like I said before, not a huge surprise. They're going to start to prioritize this Master of Arms. He's just facing to get eaten. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we actually get a jump onto Puppet Master as Revenant flanks him from the back. As the Defile and everything goes down, Leech will be able to finish him off. TP support coming in from both sides, as here comes Torture and Parasite and, Madman. But nonetheless, a strong turn of events here for the Legion side, and in particular, the Zephyr is gonna be in some trouble. 152 gold per minute on Zephyr is just not a thing that can happen. He's so dependent on a strong early game. That having this lack of farm so early on basically means he won't be able to do anything. He's not going to be able to be tanky enough to do anything in teamfights because he can provide a ton of AoE damage. The issue is he's just going to die. He's not that tanky, and once again I have to go back to why aren't they stacking the jungle? You know, get a couple of stacks and see camp off. Meanwhile, in the middle lane they will finish off Wretched Hag, as the blink was not enough to save her from the Malefic, whatever, something, presence, right? What's this thing? Mortification. I knew it started with an M. Top lane tower in a lot of trouble, and will fall. As Lila Rexxar finishes it off, gets himself about 400 gold per minute. Puppet Master still struggling a little bit in the farm at 260 GPM. Really nobody farming particularly well except for that Pebbles. And we'll see what Parasite chooses to go for. I really would like the Codex build, I think, in this game. You've got level 5 Rhapsody and level 7 Torture, both of whom will pretty much die to Parasite Burst. Probably Hag and Puppet would too at this point. And very possibly would continue to do so. I mean, this is not a particularly tanky Legion side. While under here, we'll scout a ton of stuff out. And Parasite's like, yeah, I don't really want any part of that. 5 seconds. Meanwhile, I jump over here as Pebbles chucks Revenant right back into the Sonar Scream, and the Puppet Show Bat Blast finishes him off. Not necessary, I don't think, there. But they do get the kill, and so I guess they feel like it's worth it. Now I'm going to try to push middle lane here. Master Rum's putting the goo down, trying to prevent the push. But obviously with Pebbles at their back, they're basically saying, we can get aggressive here because we can initiate extremely strongly. And that's not going to work out so well for you.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
Bottom lane, Revward does spot Parasite invis here. So they know he's around somewhere. They're sort of just waiting for him to go back on top of it, but it's probably not going to happen as he's heading out this way. Madman looking to stalk in, but nope. Industrial Relation goes off, does not hit him. But he'll walk right past this ward again, and Pebble says, hello. Oh god. Nope, gonna be fine. Perhaps looking for a turnaround here as they put the mortification down. Pebble's in a lot of trouble. He will die. Chain reaction can be taken by Madman, but not enough time. Now Hag in some trouble, has the blink, and she should be okay. So, looking for the burst there on Parasite, obviously. Little too tanky. Bottom tower once again getting pushed in as the Legion side continues to put the aggression up. And this makes a ton of sense, obviously, with map control being very important. They want to be able to open the jungle up for Pebbles and say, you know, we're going to try to burst you down and gank you wherever you are, and your support's not going to be able to come in very quickly. Teleport coming bottom as Madman continues to farm this lane. 286 gold per minute on him, actually. It's on his team. That's a little sad. Zephyr continuing to just be like, yeah, I need to be in the woods constantly, because he sort of does. Stacking a camp there on his own. Parasite not stacking anything, because apparently they hate him. I don't understand. I really don't understand this. I don't understand why they're not choosing to stack the woods. It wouldn't just help Zephyr either. It'd be helpful for Parasite too. So, oh well. I'm going to be in some trouble here as all sorts of invisibility is going to come right on top of her. Facehug will be there and stop the blink. She's in some trouble. Takes the the fork lightning, but that's not going to be enough. As the blink is not enough to finish her off, or to get her away. Sometimes I speak, and a lot of the times I speak actually, and I say things that are just wrong, so feel free to completely ignore everything I'm talking about. That's what happens when I don't cast for like a week because I get sick. And apparently it's not like riding a bike. Going to see a pretty concerted effort here to push bottom lane as all 5 Legion heroes are going to show up. The entirety of the Hellborn team is here as well, so we'll see who jumps first. Barrel roll there onto Puppet Master already. A Puppet Show goes there, but down right immediately in a back blast hits a bunch. Tornado goes down on everybody, and we're going to see everybody on the Hellborn side is falling. 2 down already. Zephyr is the next to fall. Revenant's going to be on the list as well, and Master Rums is like, well, damn. They did finish off Puppet Master, which is nice, but they're not going to try to chase down this Master, and he'll get chucked back. That's going to be a genocide.
Genocide! The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
So, tower goes down, they kill the entire Hellborn team, and all of a sudden Legion's looking real good here. Puppet continuing to farm a little bit less than what you'd like, but Rexxars Hag has picked up a bit of that slack. Obviously, both of them have substantial carry presence, so doesn't matter that much as long as they're both getting good farm. They will be able to help this team go late. I was a little curious, I think, that I didn't see a Rhapsody ultimate. I'm not sure why. Perhaps she ran out of mana. See, this is what I'm talking about. Stack the woods, man. Perhaps he's going to steal a few CS from Puppet there, but not the worst thing, you know. If your supports get a little bit of money, that's always really nice for them. Get a couple of items instead of being totally naked. Actually, I think it helps a lot. You ever see supports with just nothing except for like wards and boots? That's usually, in my opinion, that's a failure of the team, because it's not just that the support wants. You know, I mean, when you're playing, you want a few items, even if you're like, yeah, I'm a support, but you understand. Okay, well, I'm a support. That doesn't mean I get nothing. And more importantly, from a strategic point of view, it's just basically a problem. If you're that naked, you get picked off so damn easily, and you basically just become food for the rest of the opponents. So Torture, for example, down here getting some farm. Always like to see that. Every so often, you're like, yeah, take a few waves. You know, get yourself a few hundred gold, buy a major totem, buy some mystic vestments. Try to prevent yourself from dying all the time. Jump here onto Madman is not going to be successful, as he has the stock just in time. Parasite does finish a Codex 20 minutes in, and at this point you kind of wonder if it's worth it. He can definitely burst down the Rhapsody and very possibly Puppet as well. I think Pebbles is too tanky, and Hag has vestments. And I think Torture's definitely too tanky. Not only does he have 900 health, but he also has vestments as well. So Parasite's Codex, not particularly fast, and as a result, I don't think it's going to be very effective either. Puppet going for the Assassin's Shroud on top of the Whispering Helm. Definitely like that build. Counter some of the Hellborn's rampant invisibility with some of their own. Notable Hag went the Light Brand. Of course, choosing to try to increase her farm as much as possible, and you definitely agree with that decision. It's pretty easy to see. Yeah, you know, let's get some people to get a ton of farm, because the Hellborn are not doing particularly well in that department. Devil's Legion over here going to be spotted out and destroyed. Hellborn going to take double stacked Ancients, look like. Countering a ward first. I do hope they give most of this farm to Zephyr, because he desperately needs it. Although at this point it may be better to actually just dump him and you know, choose to go for somebody else to get the focus. I'm just not sure that he can even become a viable carry anymore. The rate at which he would need to farm in order to get the GPM and the items he'd need, it may not even be possible without the Hell or the Legion side just basically feeding him a bunch of kills. Seems like Hag gonna jump back here with Gust, but she's got Blink once again, and nope, that can be enough. As Parasite's Codex helping to finish her off, so nice jump there, and Pebbles will counter with a kill on the Madman, so we're going to go for 1-for-1 at this point, and Master of Arms, you're in a lot of trouble, buddy. Staccato Sun's finish him off. Haste Rune going to get stolen, actually, by Parasite, and he'll be fine. So, Legion's side has generally been in control of this game and continues to. Obviously not really at the point where they can just completely steamroll their opponents, but they're not that far away, I don't think. Bottom secondary tower obviously going to be pressured pretty heavily here. It should be a kill. Wow, they do kill this thing fast. Torture Impalement, man.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
Rev taking some hot damage. So we'll see what they choose to do. I think the Legion side at this point can get super aggressive. I like the ward placements here. They're like, yeah, look, we're gonna get up in your face. We're gonna get in your Ancients. We're gonna be in your. We should be in your jungle. Really, this should be a lot of offensive wards as well. But there's no reason for them to stop the aggression at this point. They've got an advantage. You know, they have a much better initiation, and they need to be taking advantage of that. And they will continue to do so. Looks like all 5 gripped up middle. Obviously, Hellborn are responding in kind. The question is, can they actually do anything about this? Master of Arms anti-push making this a lot more difficult, but they're still slowly sieging this tower down. Looks like they might actually back off here, as Pebbles is running into the woods to farm, but still 4 heroes to left and middle. Hellborn are continuing to group up. Regen we waddled here by Hag. And I guess she has her Grimoire. Bunch of words. She should have a Grimoire relatively soon, if not now. It's about that time, and she has 344 gold per minute, so I would suspect that she's sitting on at least the ultimate orb, if not both the orb and the recipe. Hellborn side, I wonder if Parasite's leveling up the Codex. That might actually be the best thing to do at this point, because I think, you know, very often you won't see that, but with the dual support versus the Parasite, I think that might actually be their best option. I really wish that he had spent more time farming the early game now instead of trying to kill that wretched hag that he basically couldn't have. Then again, I've expressed several times that I have some issues with how the Hellborn have played this. Not stacking and being probably a little bit too passive in the top lane. Minute rune, and your refreshment down here picked up by Madman. Up top, Rhapsody will guard double damage. And it looks like Puppet will get it. They're not sure, they want to bottle it, yep. Looks like this might turn into a mid push as Puppet's Assassin Shroud goes off. It's like, yeah, I'll kill that creep wave, boy. Master continually messing with this lane, but the tower nonetheless taking much damage, and it will fall here. DD on Puppet. That tower does fall for the Hellborn's first tower kill of the game. That's kind of awesome. And he'll just port away. So one more outer tower left for the Hellborn, 1 tower down for Legion. And Kongor. Obviously, I have plenty of visions for this. That's a bit of a mistake, but whatever. Word of sight over here, word of sight over here. So if the Hellborn try to stop this, they know what's going to happen, and that's not going to be stopped at this point. Way too late. So Token going to go Puppet here, and that's going to help them push in even more. I really wouldn't be surprised to see them try to take base at this point, because they probably could. The Hellborn just, I mean, they don't have that much anti-push besides Master Runners. The issue is basically Zephyr is useless.
Legion tower.
And as top tower goes down as well. Devil's not choosing to stack, that's a little interesting. Revenant picking up, looks like a Hellflower. Probably to lock down this Hag and Puppet. Don't want that Assassin Shroud and stuff going off. Jump going to be here onto Revenant. Chain reactions as well as the top, but takes the Master Runner's call. Not going to be enough as he falls as well. Zephyr coming in here. What are you going to do though, buddy? Off to the side. Bat Blast actually does hit. No, didn't hit Madman. Tried to kill him. Meanwhile, obviously, the Tornado going down. They're trying to turn this into torture. That's not going to happen. Chuck goes onto Zeph. And this is going to be a collapse here. Master Runner going to be the first one to fall. Zephyr going to fall right after the Puppet Show goes down. And that's going to be 2 kills for nothing.
Massacre.
It's kind of funny. Disco Rhapsody or Disco Zephyr versus Death Metal Rhapsody. The juxtaposition is amusing. But Legion side continuing to take map control, continuing to pretty much find pickoffs and tag team fights as they please, and continuing to massively outfarm their opponents. Now we have 3 heroes above 350 gold per minute on the Legion side, and nobody above 300 GPM on the Hellborn. Zephyr has taken the lead, now ceding it to Madman, but I honestly wonder if they should have done anything with Zephyr once the start was that bad. They should have maybe just even like, alright, you support now or something. Because Zephyr's such an early game centric hero where you need to have a good start, and if you do, he's stupid powerful and amazing to run, but if you don't, he just doesn't recover. Because by the time he gets his gold per minute up, by the time he gets his farm up, the point at which he's a viable carry has sort of passed, and I think we're pretty much exiting that phase at this point where even if he gets his farm up, I'm just not sure how much he's going to do because the damage output isn't there anymore. He's so magic damage centric, he's so centric on his tornadoes and his typhoon that that's what it's called, right? Yeah. At this point, the magic damage just really isn't there. And Shrunken Heads are going to start popping up, at which point nobody's going to care about him at all. He's not going to do anything. Speaking of Shrunken Heads, Puppet Master has one. So Zephyr is going to be totally useless. So's Parasite. And Revenant, in many ways, if Puppet can get that Shrunken Head off. So the Hellflower is going to be hugely important to drop onto this Puppet Master. Grimoire is finished on Hag. Not a huge surprise there, of course. She probably has had it for a while, and I'm just noticing it. Top tower is going to be the next focus, as the token on Puppet is at 1.5 minutes, so definitely like to see them try to focus the base here. Take out this tower really quickly, as it looks like Hellborn are not going to provide too much of defense. And then just sit on the base and go, yeah, I'm going to attack this tower. Man, that thing drops fast.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
If they have Puppet just sit on this tower, that's probably enough time with a token to just kill it. Don't back off. Just sit on the tower. Thank you. You're missing. Get up the hill. Thank you. Gust away, trying to prevent this a little bit. Still 30 seconds left on the token for Puppet. Just kill the tower, buddy. You can kill the tower in 30 seconds. And you might die, but who cares? Alright, now they need to be careful about this, because he's got 15 seconds left on the token. Jumping in, doing some damage here, trying to kill him. There it goes. So, 10 seconds left or so, and the token does get popped. Should be pretty easy to finish this tower off as well, as it is sitting at 170 health, so... No, they're going to back off. I don't like that decision. They can kill this tower. And it's a legit back, they're not fake backing at all, so... not a huge fan. Seems like they can easily at least kill the tower and very possibly more, but they're going to play it safe. And we'll go bottom and farm. Puppet going to continue to clean up the Hellborn Woods, and Pebble's going to take the Ancients here. Kong, we're going to be back obviously in about 5 minutes. So maybe they just feel like they can't take this out. Maybe they don't realize how far ahead they are, but they're 15k up in both Golden Experience, and I mean, it's 17 to 8 hero kills. They haven't taken a substantially bad engagement in like half an hour almost. 25 minutes maybe. Bloodlust was basically the worst thing that happened to them, and that happened at 10 minutes in. So, I don't know where the caution's coming from, really. I mean, this is a team that has extremely strong initiation. It's got great gank, and they're just like, let's farm. And I mean, I don't hate it, because they do have Puppet, and they do have Wretched Hag, and the Hellborn basically has no late game because of the way they structured their team, because Zephyr start was so bad, and because it was a Suicide Madman. They just don't have the GPM to take the slate. They don't have they can't outfarm the Legion at this point, and even if they could, I'm not sure if their heroes would... If everybody was 6-slot in this game, I'm not sure if the Hellborn's heroes would actually beat the Legions. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't, actually. Yeah. It's not a terrible play to play it safe and back up and farm, but I don't think it's really necessary. Zephyr perhaps going to be in some trouble here. Gets the booty pop down and a puppet show. A couple more auto attacks, and he will drop. And Drummer actually goes down, not going to make a difference. Bad Blast. Completely unnecessary, but hey. Shrunken Head also popped by a puppet. Probably not needed, but whatever. And now they're going to run this top, I think. And Pebbles wants to go up top, and so does Hag. So without Zephyr there, it should be Rax. And then the tower, stock in, plus the barrel roll, and actually Raps is taking a bunch of damage, and she will drop first of all. Pebbles also taking a whole bunch of pressure. Zephyr buys back, comes in, gonna try to do something, but Cursing falls immediately on the Master of Arms. Torch gonna be next to fall. In the meantime, stock away from Madman, he's trying to live, obviously that Shrunken Head wearing off here. Hag gonna find him though, and yep, they actually do finish off Pebbles, so not the greatest engagement there for the Legion side, as they lose a bunch of heroes. Hellflower goes down onto Wretched Hag, and Puppet Show though will help finish off Mr. Revenant. Couple more auto attacks there, gonna kill Parasite. Strings down onto Zephyr. Now they're gonna try to hunt down this Madman, I suspect. He does not have a stop on auto attack. There it is. And Zephyr is gonna have full health here, but Bound Eye will see Puppet. Hello. And Puppet's like, yeah, I got you, buddy.
Activated.
We'll see if actually Zephyr can live, yeah. And he might like to turn this around Typhoon in 15 seconds. Puppet Master having the Assassins gives him some ability to run, but having the Bound Eye basically means no. Yeah, nice regen. Oh, that's lucky. So, a surprising engagement, personally. They're 20k up, and they somehow managed to substantially lose it. I think the Shrunken on Madman really took them by surprise. And the jump onto Rhapsody basically meant that she couldn't get an effective ult off, so perhaps some poor positioning there from the Legion side, as Rhapsody was a little bit too far up, but whatever. Not really the biggest deal, as they didn't take the greatest team fight in the world, but they didn't really lose it either. They forced a buyback into Zephyr, and they took 3 for 4 anyway. As well as the tower. And they lost Pebbles as a substantial farmer, obviously their 2 deaths being supports. It's really not even a lost team fight. They basically won the team fight. The issue, the part they lost is that they couldn't take the Rax as well. But I would not be surprised to see that situation remedied relatively soon. Hag going for a sheep stick, it looks like, picking up a second ultimate forward. Torture has another Bound Eye, so he's looking to do something. I'm not quite sure what. You see the Word of Sight here, and I'm looking to try to kill it. But effect wears off there, so they're going to have to wait until they can pop that eye again. In 40 seconds in order to kill that ward. Invis Puppet running around here. But Revenant off to the side, going to put a Hellfire onto Pebbles, and Puppet pops the Shrunken, drops the Voodoo Puppet there onto Revenant, and he's going to drop immediately. Shrunken Head also going off for Pebbles, but the Tornado goes down, and here comes Parasite. Parasite going to fall though to the Osmic Text, and Master Arms in the background taking a whole bunch of damage. Nice ultimate for Rhapsody, completely saving Puppet Master, and now Madman will have to run away. He's got the stock active, but he's not in a great position. Meanwhile, the rest of the Legion side is chasing things down. Zephyr actually kills his teammate effectively. And now going to try to run away, but probably won't be able to do so, looking to juke into the woods, and he's going to get found. There you are. Staccato stuns go down, and a couple more auto attacks will finish him off. So he drops the Bound Eye once again. We'll see if they pick that up as well. Meanwhile, up top, actually, Hag is just taking Rax. Like, screw this, you guys kill them, I'll take the Rax. Madman's still alive somehow. He does not have space for a TP. Probably could just shell his iron shield.
Has been destroyed. A Hellborn Barracks has been destroyed.
So, top racks are down. Puppet Master are going to be working on this bottom tower here. Madman, I think, was spotted by this Word of Sight. And he might be seen. Yep, there he is, all of a sudden. And goodbye, buddy. So, I collapsed there. I'm refusing to buy a teleport and taking a death for it. Bottom lane continuing to get pressured here by Puppet Master, but the rest of the Hellborn side will converge on it. Revenant putting the Shroud down. We'll see if they can actually do anything here. I sincerely doubt they can. And they won't even initiate. So Bot Tower will be saved, but they don't get the counter kill on Puppet Master. Meanwhile, Calling Guard being attempted once again, and this will be an easy kill. could very well see the token on Puppet once again if he drops his Mystic Vestments. Has also a Hellflower, completely missed that, but getting up to 500 gold per minute now. Obviously, the items come fast and furious.
Has been slain.
It will be the token on Puppet as he drops his Vestments. And picks up a Acolyte Staff and, okay, sells it for a Dancing Blade, so it's going to be a finished Conjuro. Middle lane, Zephyr not going to get jumped. And there's a Conjuro. 30k golden experience here for the Legion side, and they basically have no way to lose this game at this point. Barring DCs, or just like a 4-year-old taking over the game for them. Illusions will be activated there by Puppet Master. Sheepstick finished on Hag, as Breastplate's finished by Pebbles, so we're going to likely see a jump here onto Zephyr as you're in some trouble, buddy. Strings go down and Stalagmites are there, plus the Chuck. Gonna be a pretty easy kill there. Puppet choking to lock him down, and just so much CC. Stun, Chuck, Puppet Show, Strings, Staccatos. CC Boat goes down, and yep, there it is. So, game going to finish here as Rexxars take the round of 16 match here and move on to the round of 8. Not a huge surprise, as they were the favorite coming in and just basically outplayed their opponents consistently. Their laning phase didn't go super well, but after that the teamwork was much better. I think the draft was substantially better as well, and the play was better. Stacking, man, gotta stack that jungle. Anyway, that'll do it for this match, and we'll see you next time.
A Hellborn barracks.